I won't lie, this build would have been the very first one that I made a video on, since one of the first things I wanted to do when I first played Xenoverse 2 was recreate my favorite builds from the first game. But some of the moves in my original build were nerfed to high hell, and I put off making a video on it to make some other characters and work on other builds. That is, until now. I finally recreated my original hybrid Ki Blaster Saiyan build from Xenoverse 1. At first, I was heavily discouraged to bother with this build near Xenoverse 2's release date, since Saiyan Spirit couldn't connect without your opponent's stamina being broken first, and Die Missile Barrage wouldn't connect fully after the second kick from Meteor Blow. But now that I fully understand male Saiyan combos, where certain moves are best applied, and Saiyan Spirit was made amazing again, I think I've managed to successfully recreate the build in a usable and entertaining way. Why am I still babbling about context? You're here for the build, so let's get on with it. As always, we'll start with the stamina break combos. Like every other race, male Saiyans can do the knockback stamina break and the charged heavy attack stamina break, but they also have a decent number of basic combos. The first one is relatively easy, but is a little hard to connect when not on the ground. One that I refer to as the neck breaker. It's done by using 3 heavy attacks and following up with a light or heavy stamina break. It's easier to pull off on the ground because you can catch your opponent when they bounce, but it can be done in the air if you're quick enough on the draw. Another one that's relatively simple but easier to goof the timing on is one that I call the sweeping gut punch. It's done by using a YXY combo and immediately following up with a light stamina break. If you're not quick with the timing on this one, your opponent can and will roll out of it. And finally, we have possibly the easiest stamina break combo in the male Saiyan arsenal, which I dubbed the Nut Cruncher. This one is done by using the full YXYXY combo, which will leave your opponent stunned for a second or two, allowing for either the light or heavy stamina break to fully connect. As for QQ bangs, I actually used 2, which are tied to 2 separate but similar presets. We'll call these presets the OG Saiyan and the New Saiyan. The OG Saiyan preset uses the QQ bang with -5 health, -2 ki, +5 stamina, +4 basic attacks, +5 strike supers, and -2 ki supers. I'll explain why I use a QQ bang with negative stats and Ki Blast supers later. Hold the phone. Guys, since the time of me recording that audio, I have since changed my OG Saiyan build. I've changed the QQ bang on it. The new one is -3 in health, -2 in ki, +3 in stamina, +5 in basic attacks, -5 in strike supers, and +4 in Ki Blast supers. The majority of the skills on my skill set were primarily Ki Blast, so I figured I'd try to find something that would prioritize that the best. This QQ bang may not be a level 5 one, but it fits this build perfectly. Just letting you know. Carry on. For the New Saiyan preset, I use a QQ bang with -4 health, +5 in ki, +4 in stamina, +5 in basic attacks, -5 in strike supers, and -2 in Ki Blast supers. Both of these I believe I crafted with Lord Slug's and Pycon's clothing, but I can't remember for certain. But I do know that there isn't a single piece of clothing with either stat setup, so you'll have to rely on luck to get either one. For Super Souls, I actually use a variety of them for this build. 2 of the main ones I tend to use are I'm Neither Kami Nor Piccolo, and I Am Super Vegeta for a boost in Ki Blast damage. I also use the Super Soul, I'll use all my strength to kill you, on my OG Saiyan for reasons that I'll explain in a moment. Finally, let's talk about stats. Now, I'm not one to really care about all this talk about soft caps, proper point distribution for certain races and whatnot. In fact, the only one that I actually pay attention to now is the fact that 42 points equals 1 stamina or ki bar. But that's about it. Anyway, seeing as how my male Saiyan is a melee Ki Blaster hybrid, I opted to put 125 points into basic attacks and 100 in Ki Blast supers. I also decided to put 42 points into stamina for 1 extra bar, and the rest went into health. Now let's finally get to the actual build. Let's start with the OG Saiyan preset. This one more closely resembles my original Saiyan hybrid build from Xenoverse 1, but it's got a few tweaks. For my 4 supers, I use Shining Slash, which is a great opener for several tricks that I'll talk about when we get to those. Die Missile Barrage, one of the staples of my original build, though not as effective as it used to be, still holds a solid place in this one. Meteor Blow still remains my favorite combo move since it can be used to link many skills together seamlessly. And finally, I have Do or Die as my counter move. Now, if you remember when I did a video on my original male Saiyan hybrid, After Image used to be my go-to counter move for my build since it was a free cast. But not only does it take ki to use in Xenoverse 2, but given how deadly back hits are, it's almost a complete waste of ki and only serves to greet you with a fist to the face as soon as it finishes the animation. Do or Die, on the other hand, despite still taking some ki to use, grants a few seconds of super armor and, if your opponent takes the bait and attempts to attack you, can knock them away, as well as give you an okay damage resistance buff for a little while. Now for ultimates. The main one that used to be damn near worthless in comparison to the original version of it in Xenoverse 1 is Saiyan Spirit. Back when Xenoverse 2 first launched, Saiyan Spirit was one among the skills that I transferred from my Xenoverse 1 save file, and was horrified to learn that it couldn't connect without stamina breaking your opponent first. I'll say something about that stupid design decision in a later video, but for now, Saiyan Spirit has since been patched and now works the way it was meant to. It's a good knockback ability and deals a solid amount of damage in a very brief amount of time, assuming your opponent doesn't vanish out of the initial punch. As for my second ultimate, I honestly had a really hard time finding one that would fit with the rest of my setup, so I settled for full power energy blast volley. Male Saiyans have a lot of knockaway combos, so there really isn't too many scenarios where you can't successfully land the barrage. You can also land it after the second kick from Meteor Blow, but that will exhaust a lot of your ki. In fact, all 4 of your ki bars at once. Speaking of which, I think it's time I explained why I use the QQ Bang with negative ki stats and Android 18 Super Soul with this preset. The reason is because Super Saiyan. No, that was not an unintentional grammatical error in my script. The actual reason is because Super Saiyan. As cool as Super Saiyan 3 looks, the amount of ki you regenerate while holding that form is pitiful. You don't even come close to a full bar even after a full basic combo. So I use a QQ Bang with negative 2 in ki to reduce the value all the way down to 4 bars total, which maxes my transformation to Super Saiyan 2 and nothing more. I also use it despite also reducing ki blast damage slightly, because it grants a substantial boost to basic attacks and strike supers. And in practice, the reduction to ki blast damage hardly hurts the overall damage of the build. Now, despite Super Saiyan 2 being passable for ki regeneration, it's still fairly slow, so to remedy that, I also use Android 18 Super Soul. I'll use all my strength to kill you. Not only does it grant passive ki regeneration, essentially making you a human, but it also buffs basic attack when your ki is maxed out. I chose this one over 17 Super Soul. Getting beat up makes me cranky, because 17's buffs ki blast damage when your stamina is maxed out. While I could benefit more from the ki blast damage, an average fight usually leaves me without max stamina for the most part, so I feel like I can utilize the buff from 18 Super Soul than from 17 Super Soul more often. Anyway, I guess I don't need to explain that my transformation for this build is Super Saiyan. So all that's left is my escape move, which is Hyper Movement. My original build had Angry Shout as my escape move to counteract the ki drain that my Super Saiyan transformation used to have, and while the extra bar is still useful since Super Saiyan hinders ki regeneration rather than drains it, I still feel like I can get more out of Hyper Movement since it can get you out of the way of a large ultimate, and it can break the stamina of someone who's using said ultimate. Now before we get to tricks with this build, let's see what's different with the new Saiyan preset. Die Missile Barrage is actually replaced with Energy Wave Combo, which not only deals slightly more damage, but is also easier to land after Meteor Blow when you fully charge it. Saiyan Spirit is replaced with Brave Heat, which is essentially Saiyan Spirit, without the initial knockback attack. It deals more damage, but it also falls under the category of ultimate attacks that will not connect without a stamina break first. And thanks to my QQ Bang for this preset granting me more than 5 ki bars, I also chose to equip Dragon Fist. I may not have any attribute points and strike supers, and my QQ Bang may negatively affect that attribute, but it still deals a decent amount of damage and is relatively easy to combo into with male Saiyan combos. Also, the pose is pretty badass. I also chose to use Future Super Saiyan just for that extra ki regeneration. It's nowhere near as strong as the other Super Saiyan forms, and it's nowhere near as strong as Potential Unleashed, but I wanted to stick with the Super Saiyan transformation for this one. Also, the added benefit of being able to step vanish out of the transformation, even though the transformation's animation isn't complete, is also a nice touch. Anyway, no more beating around the bush. Let's talk about the tricks and combos to this build, and there's a lot of them, so brace yourself. Let's start with some pretty basic stuff. On my OG Saiyan preset, one of the easiest combos involves opening with a sweeping gut punch combo, quickly following up with a Meteor Blow, and then using Die Missile Barrage. Unfortunately, Die Missile Barrage has a hard time connecting after the second kick from Meteor Blow without a stamina break, but on my new Saiyan preset, a fully charged Energy Wave combo can connect properly without using a stamina break. You can also use 3 Y attacks followed by Meteor Blow for this combo depending on your opponent's stamina size. You can also immediately use full power Energy Blast Volley after Meteor Blow, and all of the blasts will track your opponent. If your ki is maxed out and you're feeling adventurous, you can also activate Meteor Blow, and before that second hit connects, you can activate Saiyan Spirit. Another neat trick that doesn't require a stamina break involves doing a full combo string for Saiyans, which if you don't know is 6 X attacks and 5 Y attacks, using a bar of stamina to teleport beneath your opponent and using Saiyan Spirit then. If you don't feel like wasting any stamina, then on the new Saiyan preset, you can do everything up to that full Saiyan combo string, and if you're close enough to the ground, activate Dragon Fist. The travel distance for the initial kick is fairly large, so you shouldn't have too much trouble landing it. Other ways you can connect Dragon Fist are by using the YXYXY combo, then immediately using it, doing a knockback attack and pressing A to rush after your opponent with an X attack, following up with Dragon Fist. Or if you break their stamina first, you can just do a straight knockback attack, rush behind them, and then use Dragon Fist then. Because if you don't break their stamina first and you try to do that, they'll just roll out of it. Or if you're feeling really fancy, you can utilize a new combo I found which is done by doing 5 X attacks, 2 Y attacks, stepping out of that combo in the direction of your opponent and then doing a 5Y attack combo. This combo sets up pretty much every trick previously mentioned, but believe it or not, we're not done. And before you call me a hypocrite since I once stated that I believe infinite combos are cheap, these are the infinite combos that I was referring to. As you can see, if you use nothing but them to win, that's when I have a problem. If you step cancel to set up a separate combo completely, then I'll probably look past it. Anyway, this combo is best done when you fully stamina break someone, that is, when you knock them out of an ultimate or you crush through their block, since using it without the stamina break puts them in a knockaway state which gives them faster stamina recovery and a better means to escape. Oh, but we're not done yet, people. We still have a couple of skills that are vital for certain combos, so let's start with Shining Slash. While it does make for a great distance closer, unless you're fighting someone who knows how to perfect block it, Shining Slash can also be comboed into, which can set up for some really cool other tricks. Also, if you fully charge it and it lands, you can immediately follow up with any attack that's not a super attack. That includes basic combos, throws, and even a stamina break attack. So first is the easiest Shining Slash setup, using a knockback attack and immediately using Shining Slash. Simple enough. Another one that allows for a lot more damage is using the YXYXY combo, doing the knockback attack then, and then using Shining Slash. This particular trick isn't exclusive to the YXYXY combo, but this one I feel is set up the easiest. Finally, we have the very last skill that I have yet to talk about, Brave Heat. And as much as I love the look of this move, the fact that you need to break your opponent's stamina to fully connect it really only makes this valuable as a finishing move. But that won't stop me from using it though. For most stamina broken opponents who have around 5 or 6 bars, you'll only be able to effectively use Brave Heat by either knocking them back and immediately using it, or using Meteor Blow right after the stamina break and then using Brave Heat. For higher stamina users or opponents that you fully stamina break, however, you can get away with a much longer combo. And of course, you'll probably be able to find other uses for all these moves, but these are the ones that I found the most entertaining. I think this was the most complicated build I've ever made. It might have something to do with the fact that I was basically breaking down 2 versions of the same build, or I might just love this build a lot more than my other ones. Whatever the case may be, I loved every second of testing this build, except for fighting the AI. In any case, I hope you enjoyed this build video. I need to go Dragon Ball farming to fine-tune the rest of them, which also means I'll need to re-level one of my characters. So I don't know when my next build will be out. Nonetheless, look forward to that, and I'll see you in the next video.